Shanti, Shanti. Just a reminder, everybody please mute unless you're talking.
There we go. Okay, welcome everybody to this first week of this fabulous, spontaneous, empowering, dynamic, all-inclusive, participatory satsang. We welcome you all, and we're very excited for many different reasons. Now we're putting the power in the hands of all you divine souls to kind of co-create along with the GPP and the rest of us to figure out what we're doing, how we're doing, where we're doing, and why we're doing. Anyway, we're definitely creating, and we're definitely embarking on a new dimension of satsang. And I think it's really exciting and very dynamic that everybody's now starting to jump into the knowledge, Swami's knowledge, during this time of, I don't want to say crisis, but you know, we're in a time where the planet needs as much positive vibrations, and the tools that Swami had imparted to us, that we're starting to reflect on and figure out what they were and how to implement. So from the last week's course, we developed a format, and we separated people into groups to co-create information about certain tools. This week is focused on Maha Kali. And Kowski, do we want to kind of hear from everyone before we jump into Ramya's group on the Maha Kali mantra and the background regarding that, so we can hear about the mantra that we gave out last week, which came from the 90-day program, which was a process of invoking the bijas of the Namah Shivaya plus some bijas from a sacred yantra, which has tremendous power to it.
Yeah. So, yeah, it'd be nice to just, quickly touch base. How did this last week go using the mantra to help calm down and shift? And what are people's reflections in using that mantra? Which, yeah, okay. Karen?
Well, there were shocking positive results so fast in the community where I live. I was stunned. I mean, I have a picture, I can go get it later maybe, of the police chief marching with his arms around the protesters, and the protest did start out with two aggressive reactions on both sides, and then there was a court order that the police could not use rubber bullets or pepper spray on peaceful demonstrators. And so things have slowly de-escalated to the point where now the gatherings are parties. There's brass bands, and everyone's making their point, but it was, as my husband and I said, we saw things we never thought we'd see this lifetime. Like my husband said, I never thought I'd see black and white people together protesting the same thing, racial discrimination. So it was beautiful here.
Oh, powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
Where are you located?
Oh, sorry. In Denver,
Oh,
and
you're in Denver.
yeah, I'll take. I'm going to go get that picture and see if it'll come across. It's just incredible, but
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Um, there were similar situations happening across the US. Of course, we're not seeing those on mainstream media, but the different places where the protesters and the officers came together and actually were able to be together in a peaceful way, supporting each other through this and not in a conflicting manner. So it was really powerful to see. I think there was one in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. So it's pretty amazing. And which was very interesting, there was a Tucker Carlson of Fox News, which is shocking, had an interview saying, we should all be working together in community. We're all Americans. We should not be divided. We should all come together. And I was thinking to myself, this is Fox News. But it's interesting to see, that there is starting to be a shift. And also I read that, a lot of protesters, these factions that are coming in to cause disruptions, people are saying, we don't want you here, go away. We're doing a peaceful protest. So it's really empowering to see how this is evolving into something that hopefully will make a long-lasting shift.
And I had a question for Paul. You were at the course where the mantra was given out. Can you lay this whole total shift at the feet of this mantra and yantra? I mean, I mean, I'm in shock how fast it turned around.
Yeah, it was during a course where Swami put the photograph of the it's like an orb, and he called it the Adi Shankaracharya yantra, and it's a very complex yantra, but he later described it as the mother's womb. And so in the main center are the bijas, the Hesrim Yamak Shaha Ji, and it's in the center of this Star of David, which represents the Shiva and Shakti. Kowski said I thought it was Shivaratri 2011.
Was.
Yeah, Shivaratri 2011. It was the year before. It was actually 1 year before his passing, and there was a dialogue about the Namah Shivaya, and it was he did it forwards and he did it backwards. So the Naya represents the earth element, and you link it to the yantra. It has a tremendous amount of power to it. So it's really a combination of the mantras plus the yantras, which we all know represents what true tantra is, which is this catalyst of both of them together. And it was intended to be another layer, a deeper layer of being able to decharge through the nature and the elements. And that's really the background of that particular program. But it seems like the mantras and the yantras now have exponentially become more powerful. And I don't know why. You know, if I would have done those mantras back, you know, in 2012, 2013, you know, compared to now, it feels like my soul has a completely different relationship to these mantras and these yantras, and I can't explain it. And all I can say is that my experience of it has been profoundly uh, powerful, to the degree that the energy that comes with with these mantras, uh, it overwhelms me. I don't know about anybody else, but it gets so heavy that it's just, you know, I'm trying to consciously be aware of that influx of energy within me and around me, like you, Karen. You know, I can go into this deep state of meditation, and I can put my sankalpam, you know, to release that energy into the world, and vibrationally, I can just feel the waves being passed down.
Yeah, I think you made a few really good points, Paul. I mean, one is that it does link to the universal womb, the mother's womb. And so that decharging process is happening through her directly and the elements. And then just like when we do a process and we begin something new, we have to integrate that energy into our soul. I think, you know, that was one of the later processes that Swami gave before he left. And I think there's an integration time before those channels fully open. So once he opens a channel, you know, the energy is available, but there's a period of time where it has to integrate into the system, the planetary system, and link to our soul. And we have to digest that energy, because I think with a lot of things we do, I mean, I feel it too. You know, it's a lot different now implementing the energy than it was, you know, a few years ago. And a few years ago, um, we're integrating it more. I think the channels are opening more, the energy and the planet's shifting more. But, you know, what we're doing has a profound, tremendous, like very fast impact. And it's really great to get that reflection back, you know, when you implement and then you see it change, like right around, like you're witnessing it here. And so it's profound, and it's good that you got a picture. Sometimes we need that just as a reminder that what we're doing really does have profound impact.
I'm going to go get the picture. So let's be back.
Okay, sure.
Anybody else want to quickly share before we move into Ramya's group?
Sure. It's Ronalda. I'll share. I just want to reflect back on, I'm sure many of us at one point or time had said that we'd like to be meditating in the caves with the saints and the rishis, and doesn't it feel like that's what we're doing now because of this lockdown? You know, you're in your own space and you're meditating all day and all night. And one other thing, someone asked me this morning, I just want to share that. I wish a giant wave of consciousness would wash over all racists and bigots and make them think and change. And I think that is happening, right? And I think maybe we can, I'm sure there's mantras for that, because there's mantras for everything, right?
That's what we're doing. Different kinds of waves we're putting out into the universe to open up people's consciousness.
I also wanted to mention that what, you know, to tag on to the statement that Mohini said about integration of mantras and yantras. You know, we just came out of a very powerful process with connecting to a divine soul, and that takes time to really integrate and to go deeper and manifest that relationship stronger and stronger on a daily basis. And it's not just the divine soul that you're connecting with, it's also the energy of that being and the divine souls that they're connected to, you know? Like when you want to connect to Swami Kaleshwar, you know, he only gives you as much energy as you can handle. And then, you know, a lot of times when I do some of these mantras, I just literally just disappear. It's just who I am just kind of just melts, and this influx of energy or this link to these channels just open up, and it takes a while to digest that energy and to integrate and to become aware and conscious at a soul level. You know, you just can't hold on to it in your mind. So even though we did this process with linking to a divine soul, it's still unfolding. And there's very little that we can do to speed it up. It's just going to have its own organic unfoldment. And the same thing happened with Swami. You know, he said, I planted the seed. You know, now you just have to make it grow. I now kind of understand what he meant. You know, it's kind of like get the fertilizer, get the water, put it in the sunlight, and wait and see the results. Okay, Karen, let's see those. Oh, that's nice.
Wow.
So it's the police chief is in the middle. I don't know how I'm doing here. And he's got his arm around a woman and his arm linked through another man.
I see that, yeah.
But that's just day one. Day two, he was out there again. So I just thought it was beautiful. I never thought I'd see that in my lifetime.
Well, I think I work with a woman whose husband is a sheriff down in Sacramento. And, you know, they have 3 very small children. And we asked her how she was doing. And she said it's been a very intense week, you know, a lot of concern. And she was, you know, obviously emotional because, you know, every time he goes out, there's risk. And so I think both parties are starting to see that, you know, if things continue to escalate, it's not safe for the officers going out there trying to do their job and to keep, you know, people safe. And it's not good the way that certain behaviors from certain officers that cause, you know, the problems. So I think the powers that be are trying to also shift some of how they've been trained and how they are going to continue to train and how they're going to continue to, you know, address these issues. So it's bringing up for them also a way that they're going to have to shift. So it's, you know, for everybody involved, you know, I think it's a turning, hopefully a permanent turning point for how to better, you know, talk to each other, be part of the community. I mean, there's some communities that have officers who are very active in the communities to try to bridge these gaps. And so it's really beautiful for the chief, you know, the police chief, to be able to recognize this and be able to take some inspiration back into the force.
Right. It's interesting, Karen. Last week, I actually was in Denver for 6 days. So that's kind of interesting. I was watching the news in Denver as well, and it was very interesting because I was in Denver to do some work, and all of a sudden, all this stuff started happening in Los Angeles. So, beginning of the week, I had to come back to Los Angeles after being in Denver. Actually, Denver is beautiful. Really beautiful.
Do we want to have Ramya's group do their presentation?
Mm-hmm.
Ramya?
Catherine.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so Ronaldo from our group is on. I just wonder who is their phone number ending in 2469. Is that somebody in our group? Can somebody put that in the chat? Is that one of our Maha Kali group people? Yes or no? Okay.
They just unmuted. Who are you?
Devika, is that you? Because we
Yeah, it
couldn't
ends
hear you.
in. Can you hear me?
Now we can.
You can hear
I
me
can't
now?
hear Devika.
Oh, that's
No.
Devika.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't hear
469.
Devika.
Okay.
Since
All
you
right.
since you're on your
Okay,
phone,
now can you hear me? Yeah, it's Devika. Sorry.
Oh, hey,
For some reason-
Devika.
Yes.
So from our group, we have on the line, we have Ronalda, Devika, and Ramya, me. So our group asked specifically that we start the discussion with 3 recitations of the Maha Kali mantra. So let's go ahead and do it together. So Om Hrim Hesraim Hrim
Satam Team, Om Deem Team, Clean Clean Sound Sound, Maha Agni Sarupane Nama, Om Kum Lum Jam Karaka Durgamba, Om Kum Lum Jam Ham Karaka Durgamba, Durga Devi Dursanam, Om Yamatara Jabana Salagam, Mama Mama Mama, Atma 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 Rasha 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 Mam.
Om Hrim
Team Hesaim Team Om Team Team Clean Clean Sam Sam Maha Agni Sarupanye Namaha Om Kum Lum Jam Kanaka Durgamba
Om
Om Kum Lum Jam Ham Kanaka Durgamba Durga Devi Prasanam Om Yamatara Javana Salagam Mama 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 Atma 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 Raksha 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 Mam
Om Hrim
Om Him has fine Him. Om Team Team Clean Clean Sound Sound Maha Agni Sarupanye Namaha Om Kulum Jam Karaka Durgamba Om Kulum Jam Ham Karaka Durgamba Durga Devi Prasanam Om Yamatara Javana Salagam
Mama.
Okay. Can you hear me? Am I unmuted?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So we had Ramya, Prasad, Devika, Ronalda, and Pam. I don't think Pam's on the line in our group. I guess Prasad is not on the line. And Pam, I guess, is not on the line either, is she?
Which is a shame because she actually had a lot of great contributions.
Which is a shame because Prasad is not here. I wanted I typed up the notes and I wanted Pam to start. But since Prasad is not here, I'll just start from the beginning because Prasad was first. Okay, so Prasad's input was that I called it initially the Maha Kali mantra, but he made the point that it's a prayer to invoke the divine, and that when we recite it, we're asking Mother Divine to come and help us, to come and destroy the negativity. He noted that the God mechanism, the God mechanism, was present in this mantra, except he felt it was in the reverse order. Instead of generator, operator, destroyer, it was in destroyer, operator, generator, because the fire mantra was the first portion of the mantra. And then he felt that the water mantra was the operator portion, the Vishnu portion, and that the Brahma portion was the angels and their bijas. So, yeah. And he also noticed that there's a lot of groups of threes in the mantra, just like the Trinity. There's Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. The triple repetitions of Mama, 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 Atma, 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 Raksha, 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 Mam. And that works out to 9, which is also the goddess's number. So, Devika, please help me with some of the things that Pam said, because Pam said a lot, and that's when the recording wasn't on, and I was madly taking notes. And Pam had a lot of information from, oh, before I go on, would anyone like to say something about Prasad's input?
Well, that's interesting, his reflection as far as the connection to God. I mean, because everything is in Maha Kali. All the devas, rishis, everybody came in to create her.
Yeah.
So she is part of all those aspects of the creation, brought in to take out the negativity, which is definitely the destructive energies or forces, to remove that kind of negativity. But I never put that in perspective as far as a reversal. I always saw her more as this all-encompassing goddess of all the energies that are in the universe, as far as the angelic and higher frequencies, I guess you could call it, beings, to be able to remove the negativity both on the outer planes, but also on the inner planes, you know, wanting to remove whatever is a negative aspect of ourselves. So that's interesting that he says, and I never put the repetition of 3. Is there a reason why they always did 3?
Well,
it-
I was wondering because there's 3 triplets, and 9 is the mother's number. So I wonder, honestly, my take of the repetition, and I'm not saying that this is like set in stone of like what this means. It's just when I'll just go ahead and transition into what Pam was talking about, how Maha Kali was created by like basically a synergy of all the gods and angels coming together to destroy the negativity. So if she's coming into creation, if she's coming into form, I wonder if the repetitions is really the repetition of 9 is really to help with that structure of helping her come into form. You know, again, that could, I don't know if that's what that means, but we do notice that the 3 triplets does equal into 9. And yeah. So another thing that Pam was talking about is that Maha Kali is the union of Shiva and Shakti, and that contained within the Maha Kali prayer is the Master Sankalpam. And I wonder if I think that's something that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Ramya, did Pam mention that the Master Sankalpam is part of the Atma, 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 because we're talking about the soul of like the soul, the universal soul, like basically like the different layers of like, I'm sorry, I'm stumbling.
Okay. Well, let me do this. Unfortunately, Pam is not here, but what I'm going to do, I don't know the answer to that question, but let me just read what Pam's contribution was to the best I can. And then that covers a lot about the mantra. And then Devika, why don't you go ahead and comment on that, okay?
Before you
Christine.
start, remember there was an email that Pam sent this morning that there were certain things she didn't want shared to the group.
That was from
That was
Devika.
not Pam.
Oh, that was
That was
Devika. I apologize. Okay.
I am aware of that, and I sent you
Okay.
an email, a chat saying that.
Okay.
And all
Yep. Okay. Thanks. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Okay, so Pam began with her she had pulled a lot of stuff from the transcripts from the website www.journeyswithkalishwar.org. And she started with the fact that Maha Kali herself is Shiva Shakti union energy. Everything in form is one form. Maha Kali energies are very strong. It is a straight arrow to dissolve many poisons. Maha Kali was created by all the gods and angels coming together to destroy the negativity. Therefore, contains Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Saraswati, Lakshma, Parvati, and the angels. She said that the Maha Kali prayer is the telephone number to the deities. Contained within the Maha Kali prayer is the Master's Sankalpam. The Maha Kali prayer connects to the Sri chakra through the bijas Yamatara Japana Salagam, as they are petals of the Sri chakra yantra. Maha Kali prayers washes out the blocks and balances your blocks as it balances your energy. And she also said that the Maha Kali prayer is also a formula for the sun energy, the highest form of energy for all creation. The mother came from the sun, and all the energy in the universe came from the sun. And she said, the Swami said 50% of the negativity is from the mother and 50% of the negativity is ours. You can heal someone just while looking at them while doing the Maha Kali prayer. And Pam was talking about how she successfully used the Maha Kali prayer at work to dissolve negativity in a work situation, and it worked beautifully for her. And that Maha Kali came to heal because she can dissolve the negativity. So Devika, what would you like to say more about what Pam said? And then Ronaldo, maybe you can jump in after that.
Oh, I know. It's really just you pretty much said it. It's that I think the mantra just contains all of creation. So you have like the Yamatara Jabana Salagam, like it's the petals of the Sri chakra, but those are also all of the angels. Mm-hmm. So you have you just basically have different aspects of creation in this mantra. So it's whole and complete.
Yeah. And I forgot to say the last line of the notes from what Pam said, and that Swami said, opened with his talk about Maha Kali prayer, saying Maha means huge. So it's not only is Maha Kali huge, but the prayer is also huge.
Right.
So, okay, there's more. So I'm going to go on because my page ended. So she said that in the transcript, she found that Swami said Om Hrim Hesraim Hrim was calling Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And that Om, Deem, Deem, Kleem, Kleem, Sound, Sound were power words. And that Maha Agni Swarupanyena Namaha is Shiva, the fire mantra destroying the negativity. That Om Klum Blum Jum Kanaka Durgamba, Om Klum Blum Jum Hum Kanaka Durgamba is of course the water mantra, which transforms as water is transforming. And then Durga Devi Prasanna, that means, Swami's words means, please come and appear to me. Of course, Yamatara Jabana Salagam, we've already said, are the bijas. And then Mama, 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 Atma, Atma, Atma. Swami said that Atma, Atma, Atma connects our souls to the angel souls, to the next soul, to the mother in the Sri chakra. And we were kind of talking about how this isn't that is kind of like a soul lineage to collect to connect to the divine. And then the last three words, Raksha, Raksha, Rakshamam, Swami said means thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so anyone like to comment on that from our group or outside the group? Or should I just go on?
I'll go on.
Okay. All right. So I found something in Paramashiva Yoga Volume 1 about the Mother Divine and the Maha Kali Mantra. And this is in Paramashiva Yoga Volume 1, page 152. Quote, "We can never try to command on Mother Divine. It's very dangerous. That's the #1 statement. We can command on Baba. We can command on Krishna. We can command on Vishnu. We can only command on Mother Divine in a peaceful way. Hey Mother, Om Plum Bloom Jum Kanaka Durgamba. Om Plum Bloom Jum Hum Kanaka Durgamba Durga Devi Prasanam." We are using those words. We add the bijaksha, hum. Hum is hooking your soul. Prasanam means, please come and appear to me. Bless me and the intention I have and what my soul is really aching for. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Try to see my desire. Try to fulfill that, please. Right now, I am begging you. That's the deeper inner secrecy of hooking something through the word hum. Swami goes on, with Mother Divine, we always have to follow her with pure devotion in a kind and surrendering way. Even if you are so angry like Tenali Ramakrishna was, he screamed at her in a diplomatic way using poetry. She's the only person in the universe that can bless you with siddhis and powers. She really wants to bless you. She's the only one. Nobody else has the power to bless you like that. So that's the end of the quote that I pulled. And so my reflection on this was that the mother is crazy powerful and we can't command on her. We can only supplicate her. We can only ask from her. And Swami entrusted us with Maha Kali's energy for healing the negativity. And what came to me was that not everybody uses their supernatural abilities for good, but that every drop of the spiritual abilities that Swami gave us was with the intention of healing the world. And that we should never, never, ever forget that we, the Swami Student Kingdom, are the servants of the positivity. You know, we're a vehicle for Swami's love, Baba's love, Jesus's love, the mother's love. And the whole idea of surrendering to the mother and not commanding on her is super important. The Maha Kali prayer is so powerful, especially when used with a fire puja. It's more than just a mantra, it's a power, it's a supplication to God. So I'd just like to add here that Devika really wanted to, and our group of course agreed, that we wanted to do a fire puja where we came together remotely to use the Maha Kali prayer to reduce the negativity at some point in the near future. And I also felt that the Maha Kali prayer was the #1 prayer to the mother. I know that from the very beginning, Swami stressed the Maha Kali, even though he went on to teach many, many prayers. I feel like, you know, the Maha Kali prayer is like Swami's baby. It's like the prayer, not to decrease the importance of the other prayers, but because all the powers come from the mother, this is really like the kind of the crux of the whole thing. So I'll stop there for, actually that's all I have. So I'll stop there for some feedback.
Thanks, Ramya.
Sure.
Well, it's, you know, mother, that form of mother is the peak form of the mother. even though, you know, I remember the first time I saw a picture or a statue of her, I just thought, whoa, that's intense. That's really something. I don't know if I want to go in that direction, you know, until we learned more about that particular form of the mother and her story and her creation story and why she was brought into being. So, you know, Swami also said, you know, the mother is incredibly loving, but she also is a mother and will put you in line as well. So you have to kind of, like what you're talking about, use her energy in a beautiful way, come to her with an open heart, but recognize, you know, that, you know, mother is mother and she will bring on the illusions. So how to enroll her to, you know, help you to fulfill whatever outcome that you are asking for. So I think now that I have a deeper understanding of the Maha Kali energy and having used it for 10 years now, I can definitely say it's a very powerful mantra and energy. So whenever I'm feeling like I really need help, like what Pam is saying, you know, there's some negativity running, it's a good mantra to use to cut that. So I now have a much deeper love and connection to Maha Kali.
Yeah, because I usually use arrows when there's a negative situation. It doesn't come to me to use the Maha Kali, but now after doing this research into Maha Kali prayer, I think that I will use the Maha Kali also, just because it was just my habit. My go-to was the 9 arrows, you know. So, but and personally, I've had amazing things happen to other people, for other people that I prayed for using the Maha Kali prayer at fire ceremonies. So definitely, I think we should do a homa and a virtual homa with us all doing Maha Kali to calm down the negativity. That would be maybe a next step we could do.
Well, maybe
I really appreciate how, like, there's always, every time we talk about the mother, we always seem to talk about how she comes in with her illusions, and I always feel compelled to defend her because I think, like a lot of mothers, mothers have this unfortunate role of holding the line, where dads can be the good cop or the one who's very generous and maybe spoil us a little bit. The mother has, if she's going to bestow her siddhas, her powers, she has to make sure that her children or the ones who come to her can handle her blessings in a positive way, and that can handle the illusions and not fall to negativity and misuse her blessings. And I just always feel like I need to maybe like put in my quip on that, even though maybe a lot of you know that. It's just she has to hold the line to make sure that those blessings are well executed and come from a good place.
We now have Pam on the phone. Pam? Pam.
Well, hello. I please accept my humble apologies. Somebody broke into our house while we were at the farmers market, and we came back.
God.
It's okay.
Oh.
It's just the illusions. So, please excuse my tardiness.
Of course. Yeah. Are you okay?
Oh yeah, well, I'm fine.
Okay.
So Pam, because you weren't on the line, I went ahead and read the notes on on what you said during our meeting yesterday, but why don't you, if you have something just coming from your heart or whatever you'd like to say right now, because I don't like to speak for other people, go ahead and
Well,
share if you
for
like.
me, the Maha Kali is the highest arrow to throw. It's the beautiful Telugu words that Swami gave, and he said that Telugu is like medicine to our soul.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the direct phone number. She is all powerful. She is the one that we connect with, but we have to do it in a bhakti way because we cannot command on her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
So I think that it may be difficult to really understand that power until we implement and see the reflection. That's a lot of times the real measure of it. Okay, Anju, you want to share a personal experience?
Yes, this happened 2 years ago. My just to give you a background of what was going on, my daughter went to her friend's house for to meet all her friends, and she has all kinds of allergies: food allergies, environmental allergies, anything you name it, she has it. But one thing I was not aware of was that she was allergic to Pepsi. It developed suddenly, because a week ago she had Pepsi, there was no reaction. But then when she was at her friend's around 9 o'clock in the night, she calls and says, "Ma, I'm developing hives all over. I just had Pepsi. Can you come and pick me up?" So I go pick her up, and it was on a Friday night, and she was not able to breathe. And unfortunately, I did not have EpiPen at home, and my son wasn't home. So I have 3 dogs. So I really did not know what to do, whether rush her to ER or what to do. So I just took her to her bedroom and I started chanting the Maha Kali prayer. I was chanting with like really loud. And I was asking my daughter to chant along with me, even though she said she could not breathe. I said, just do whatever you can, but let's ask the mother for her help. I think I must have chanted 9 times. There is a small Durga Devi picture in her room. And at the end of the 9th time, the picture just fell down.
Mm-hmm.
And then within few minutes, she fell asleep. It was like a deep sleep. I had never seen that kind of peace on her face. Like it was like magic. She was in distress. She could not breathe. She was crying and there were hives all over her body. And the minute the picture fell, and there was a loud noise, there was no way a small photo frame can make that kind of noise. And it was like, I knew mother was there, and my daughter Punya, she fell in trance. But when she woke up, no sign of anything that she went through. So this was a very personal experience that even my daughter, who always questions, Mohini knows how she questions everything I do. So there was she could feel mother's presence because mother healed her. She was able to get a deep sleep. And when she woke up, it was all normal. It was like a storm, big storm coming, and mother jumped in right there and everything became peaceful.
Oh, that's an amazing story.
Yeah.
I mean, also the thing is, it's really important to note that you're also her mother, and you have a lot of, you also have a lot of power over your own daughter. I mean, to take care of her. And that's amazing.
It's like at that moment, I didn't know, I was not using my brain. Like I didn't know what to do. I literally held her feet, mother's feet, and said, do what you have to do. Because there was nothing I could do. She was in so much pain. I wasn't sure if she would be able to sit in the car till I took her to the emergency room. I didn't know if she would be able to continuously breathe. I couldn't call the ambulance. Like I was in such a condition, like I said, only, you have to help me. And, 9 times it did the magic.
Mm.
Wow, that's a powerful, powerful story.
Thank you.
Yes, amazing. Wow. But that's what Maha Kali was created for, to come and save her children. And as her mother, that's a great point, that you were a mother. And, you connected to the Divine Mother and pulled her to come save the child, your child. That's what Maha Kali does. That's beautiful.
Yes, and I remember Swami saying that there's no higher healer on the planet than your own mother. Your own mother is your highest healer on the planet. He said, mother, father, then guru. Said that one time.
And isn't that what somebody had mentioned, that if you add your mother's name to any prayer for healing or for anything, it multiplies it? Because her womb, your womb is linked to her womb, which is linked back to the Divine Mother's womb.
Okay, I have to add something to this, and I hope this isn't me spiraling into another direction, but I do have to talk about that aspect of Kosuke. I've been adding my mother's name to my prayers recently, and those of you who know me know that I kind of have a charged relationship with my parents. It's never been an easy relationship from the word go, and I'm not here to wear you down with my stories. It's been a hard relationship, but I've been using my mom's name, and something's been happening just in the short time I've been using it, and I'm still not holding my breath about permanent changes with my mom. But her relationship and the way she has engaged with me is a lot sweeter, and I'm still, I'm still holding out. Like, okay, is this related to COVID? Is this related to the month? So let's see. But I've been noticing a difference. Yeah.
Well, I
A difference,
remember.
positive or negative? Is she closer now because you're using her name? Is that what you're saying?
I feel like the relationship. I feel like the way she calls me and talks with me, that there is a definite sweetness in her demeanor that I'm not used to or accustomed to. And a part of me is like, oh my God, what is she up to? What is she gonna do? There is something. There is a change, a distinct change in both our. It's not just her; it's also me too, where I'm also relating to her in a more sweet way. Yeah.
Well, it's beautiful. I mean, when you say that, it just makes me wonder, okay, so what is the mechanism there? So, when you're chanting bijas, mantras, whether it's in a process or you're implementing, there's always like a decharging, releasing, and charging mechanism that goes on in mantras. So here you're using these very high vibrational bijas, and you're hooking your mom's energy in that process by using her name. So every time you're chanting a mantra, you're pulling your mother, and she's experiencing those vibrations because you're linked energetically through your womb chakra. So
right.
When you call her name, you're invoking her. So you're pulling her energy, that connection between you and her, and you're chanting these high vibrational frequencies. So you're actually healing the relationship.
Right. So I'm pulling the mother through my mother
Yeah.
to me. And
Yeah.
so it's the thing is, again, I don't want to like go into my mom's relationship with me, but she owes me a life this lifetime based on what she had done in her last lifetime. So there's a lot of unkindness there, like from the beginning. And because she's had to owe me her womb in this lifetime, there's some resentment, and you can see it. And I feel like you're right. Like there's been some pulling of higher energies through her to me, and I'm grateful to her. And on some level, she may be grateful to me too, for that channel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, you're helping her clear whatever that is, and you're lifting her energetically. It's a blessing for her soul, actually.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. I totally get that.
Yeah, it's powerful.
I have on this topic, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I was wondering, because we're using the mantra where we're adding our mother's name, and then as Swami said in one of the programs, when we added our mother's name, that you don't add her formal name, you add what she was called. You guys agree with that? Like my mother's formal name is Jean, but everybody calls her Jill.
Mm-hmm. It's
So
what she connects her energy to, what she resonates with.
oh, okay.
It's like how she knows herself.
Yeah, well, I would definitely say she knows herself by Jill, because that's what everybody calls her. No one ever calls her Jean. But then I was just wondering, I was just worried about decharging for her if I was, quote, using her in the mantra. And maybe that's just not relevant. I just thought I'd ask that question.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by decharging for her?
Well, if we're pulling her energy to do something,
Right.
that she doesn't need to decharge that then. Like when we're taking the name, we're doing the mantra to get rid of negativity.
Mm-hmm.
And then we decharge because we absorb negativity. But when we use her name, she doesn't have to worry about any of that.
You're responsible because you're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I mean, that's my understanding.
Great. Okay, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And
And that's
That's
what
my understanding is it's going to the
decharge.
mother's womb.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
It goes straight
perfect.
it goes through the womb to the great mother, not to your mom. She's not the stopping place.
Perfect. I figured
my
she wasn't,
understanding.
but I wanted to know the mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, great. That's very helpful.
You know, and just in general, like when you're taking the action to do something, you're karmically responsible for that action, whether positive or negative. It's for the whole cycle of completion. So in this case, yes, you know, the Divine Mother takes care, but you know, it's, if you're acting, then you're responsible for the karma.
Okay.
To include any kind of negativity.
So we're only using those mantras for good anyway, so.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So this is part of learning the mastery of how to create and how to work with the energy, whether it be Kieran's, you know, in her area, Devika with her mom, Ramya in the hospital, you know, it's about implementing. That's the reflection that we're practicing. We're practicing how, when we engage with our soul, with the divine soul, with our mother's soul, and with the angels, that we're learning how to create and to raise our consciousness and our awareness that through our soul and our intention and our Brahma consciousness, that we're having an impact, whether we're aware of it or not. We're having an impact. I mean, just think about it, you know, doing Maha Kali, you know, put your intention on where you want to focus that positive energy to either remove the negativity or uplift the positivity, either in a person, a situation, or a specific blockage. That's the whole focus. That's why we're introducing these tools. And everything that you guys have said, you know, you quoted Swami's words. Swami knew what he was releasing through his students. I guess my point is that I'm placing an intention that all of you start to recognize that relationship and grow that relationship. You know, we can do it, you know, we can go through the different layers of awareness. You don't know what you're doing, but you're doing. You're doing something, but it's kind of hit or miss. And then the third stage, which is you are aware of what you're doing and you're working to grow that energy. That's essentially what this satsang is really designed to be, is to empower you guys to understand that you have power and you can see the reflection in the nature, the positive influence that you're having. That's the key point. Because then you can recognize yourself as a co-creator with this energy. It's a very subtle point, but it's a very important point for us to recognize.
So we're going to be using the Maha Kali prayer for the next week. Did your group come up with an intention that we wanted to put behind it?
I think we were all working on getting rid of the negativity with the civil unrest and the COVID before. Other people in the group certainly can jump in, but that's what I thought stick with the same thing that we started with, you know, we started the other mantra that Mohini gave last time, but we could have the same intention with the Maha Kali fire puja, unless someone else would like it to be different. That was what we were kind of thinking. I thought, if I'm wrong, if somebody else in the group
Yeah.
could speak up.
It's basically the same thing. And I again, I don't mean to wax poetic, but my interest is to pull the negativity from our actions, thoughts, and elements. Just like basically, it's like if we're in the Kali Yuga and everything is inundated in negativity, I would love for our group to help with like the transmutation of that, or the cleansing of that.
Mhm. I think that's perfect. I mean, that's what Maha Kali is. And going back to, I mean, I love the earlier discussion when you're talking about everything is contained within her. Swami talked about the fire and the water as, you know, when you understand how the fire can exist within the water, that's when you're enlightened. That is her, because in her, in that structure, is the fire and the water. And what really is needed to transmute all this negativity on the earth is that enlightenment, you know, that expansion of the consciousness in the world, in order to transmute the negativity to that higher level of consciousness, in order, you know, to clear that. And that's what she does, comes down to clear the negativity and transmute it. So I think that's perfect in terms of the intention.
So the intention is to transmute the negativity and dispel it so that everybody can become awake to their own divinity.
Yeah.
And each other's divinity, like
And each
recognizing
other.
divinity. Yeah.
I mean, we're all one, right? That's what, you know, Baba always said, and Swami and Jesus, and, you know, so that's it. We are one. So if you can, you know, reach that understanding and awareness, you wake up to, you are that. We are all that. We are all each other. We are one, you know, then there's no need for division. There's no need for, you know, all the stuff that is going on, the manipulation,
Wow.
the craziness.
if we all recognize that, then, and we all recognize whatever we do to somebody else is also doing it to ourselves. So then that might change how we are talking, relating, how we do business, so many aspects in our creation. If we start recognizing that we're all the same and we're all one, then that gives an opportunity now for us to move into a different way of being on the planet, where people are respectful and understanding. And so anyway.
And the whole, the pandemic and the COVID, I mean, it has triggered a whole chain reaction of things and suffering on so many different levels. It's not even just about being ill. It's just that all needs to be cleared.
However, there's always a positive and a negative. They go hand in hand. If you look at what has transpired through all this, all of a sudden, a lot of information that was hidden before is now coming forward. And so by people being home, they've had the time to stop, relax. Like for me, I did a lot of research while I was home because I actually have the time to really go deeply into a lot of things that are underlying right now. And so there's been a lot of people doing research and posting on Facebook, on YouTube, on, whatever. So there's an awakening that's happening, and it allowed us to pause, to take the time to become aware and informed on a lot of levels. So no accidents here. So even though there's, the harshness, there's also that aspect that's helping us to wake up. So there's those two things that are at play right now.
Yeah. I'd like to contribute just a different perspective. I like what you said. When I use the Maha Kali prayer, it's usually more specific. So for me, given the circumstances that I have witnessed out there with the protests, I think it's when we say negativity, we have to really understand what that means. And for me, it's about transmuting the fear, the anger, the pain that people are, and the suffering that people are going through, and the state of separation at the level of the heart. So on one hand, I love when Maha Kali, when I invoke her to remove the fear, to remove the negativity created by anger, to remove the pain and the hurt and the sense of deep unworthiness that people have about themselves. At the same time, asking Maha Kali to open people's hearts and because it's through the heart chakra that we recognize that we are all human beings, and it's opening, like they say in the Old Testament, love thy neighbor as thyself, which means that you recognize a spark of God within others, and that it's about being human towards other people. It's being compassionate, it's being loving, it's shedding the benefit of the doubt, to be patient. So one part, it's removing the negativity, but another part, it's raising the qualities of a human being, is what I'd like to see, Being more compassionate, more patient, more loving towards your fellow human being, to the suffering that they're going through. At the same time, the negativity is that evil in the world that feeds off of fear, feeds off of conflict, that feeds off of anger. It's the lower chakra versus the higher chakras. And, it's no mistake that Maha Kali is the inner fire element mantra. So, and like what Mohini said, it's understanding the relationship between the fire and the water. You know, the water is creation, and the fire is one part. I don't want to say destruction, but it's, you cannot create something new until you destroy something old. So that's my thoughts about it. I don't want
Fire
to,
is transmutation.
yeah,
It's
transmutation,
transforming from
right? Exactly.
one form to another.
Yeah.
I
So,
really want, oh, sorry, Paul, I didn't want
oh
to.
no, please, Karen, go ahead.
I really wanted to underscore what you said um, about focusing. I probably, I'm not going to capture your final statement very well, but I thought it was really kind of the kernel of what we're going through. Is that so much is being raised. By raised, I mean lifted up, more positive. And I had a spiritual experience early on when this whole pandemic started, of in my heart understanding Mother to say, do not ask me to stop. And the import of that was just what you were talking about. We've got, not we, I mean, I don't have anything to do with this, but she wants to raise the consciousness, and that's, this whole thing is actually at its root very, very positive, which is, you know, a pretty standard spiritual teaching. But I would personally shy away from asking her to stop.
Maybe it's more in invoking her help for humanity's awakening.
So
Yeah,
asking,
yes,
oh, sorry,
because that's what, because that's why she's doing, and whatever she's doing, it's really to bring us closer. So maybe we should just say we're asking you that we come. Let's speed up this process of us coming together and be close without, like, but if we have to go through the fire, then let's make it, I don't know, quick or easier.
We're
or
asking,
like,
we're asking her to, forgive me, Devika, but we're asking her to remove the illusions of separation. We're asking her to remove the darkness of ignorance, you know, whether it be fear or anger or emotions or whatever it is, but to remove that. But also, it's also to have more love in our lives, you know, to have more love for each other and love for God, you know, because that's the highest form of love, is love for the divine, love for the mother, because we've really have forgotten the mother's presence on this planet. We have really ignored the feminine, nurturing, loving, compassionate aspect of this creation. And when we ignore her, she just allows us to waddle in that ignorance for a while until we get to so much suffering that we have to turn to her. And I think that that's part of the unfolding. And, you know, we're all struggling for words here, but this is a great dialogue to really go deeper in what Swami's intention was. And he wanted us to start waking up to the mother's presence, because it is the source of all healing. And it's the source of all illusions as well. And we invoke that presence to be more in our lives in a positive way. You know, the fact that, you know, that officer embraced the protesters was because the mother touched his heart in such a way that he woke in that spark in his consciousness that, hey, I don't want to fight these people. I'm here in service of these people. So he became greater than the fear that was surrounding him.
Mhm.
Well said, Paul.
I remember one time on one of the global conference calls, Swami came on and I remember this so well. He went 5 times, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Said that on the global conference call. And it's not, there isn't any them. It's not those people, it's us. It's a we. We need to wake up just as much as they do. So to me, it's asking the mother to help her babies wake up and dispel the illusion that we're separate from one another and we're separate from her. And once we know that we're one being, it's like the left hand doesn't cut the right hand off or cut your ear off or your nose off. So we can go point A, point B, point C underneath all of that. But the one arrow, I think, is helping us all to wake up and dispel the illusion that we're separate. To me, that's it. That's everything right there. And the rest of it is just symptoms.
Thank you. Yep. Because we all have to be responsible for us first, and then it goes out. So we have to also be looking within and going within with all this too.
But
And
there
it's a
is no
great
us
time.
and them. That
Exactly. There's no us and them, but we
point
have to
is
take a
that
look.
it's only we.
I know.
It's not like
but-
we're taking care of ourselves first and then them. It's just we. We are one. It's not a
Right.
metaphor. I think on the planet we're waking up to that. I think that's what's actually happening. My personal thought and some things that I've read is that we've been living in an illusion of a separate being from God, individuation, for eons, yugas, and the game's over. And the powers that be, little by little, are lifting the illusion net on the earth that we're separate, that we're individuated. And this is the symptoms, everything that's happening. So I feel like personally, and today I'm quite physically suffering in all honesty, but I feel like a frog in a pot, in a pot, you know, and little by little, the heat's getting turned up little by little so that we don't feel it. But I think, you know, we were talking earlier on the call about just a couple years ago, things were different, and 5 years ago it was different, and 10 years ago it was different. And I think if we really were able to take us 10 years ago and all of us, you know, whether we're with Swami or not with Swami, and us now, I think we wouldn't even recognize ourselves now. I think we're all frogs in the pot, and the consciousness, the energy level on the planet, I don't know if you want to call it 5-dimensional or if you want to go into the 3D, 4D, 5D or whatever we call it, is, you know, with us kicking and screaming or with us going hip hip hooray. The whole planet is quite fascinating to watch. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been we're still in the battle, so we're not at the hip hip hooray yet stage. But this whole cycle of Maha Kali, I mean, what is the peak point of Maha Kali after the battle is over? You know, she drops into the heart chakra, and that's Maya Sasama Mardini, right? And that peak point, peak power. So, you know, battle's raging, she's fighting to save her children, consciousness is shifting, and then when she reaches that peak stage, she shifts into the most beautiful divine form of the mother at peak power, peace, and she, you know, she's in the heart chakra, which is just pure love. And that is us. We are that. So we are going through that cycle. We just haven't reached that peak point of power yet. We're still in the throes of the battle.
Well, Mohini, is there a mantra? Well, I do. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not asking us to totally switch tracks, but is there a mantra to invoke Mahi Sasra Mardini particularly?
That's a really good question.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't have to go there along, but maybe after the Maha Kali or something, we might want to think about that. But I just threw that in.
No, that's a great question. Shifting to that peak level.
I know the Indian people at Paul's temple, they do puja to her. There's pujas. There's pujas on the internet. If you Google search on the YouTube, I bet one would come up.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a popular song to
Song.
her that you might want to listen to if you look online. A song to Maha, I can't pronounce her name, but it's very popular. Just I think playing that in the background might be nice for you. I'll see if I can find it.
Mhm.
We played musical chairs with it once. It was with David Peralta's daughter. Of course, she won, but it was quite uplifting.
How fun.
Okay, so we have our intention, we have our mantra. So we'll be resuming back next week, same time.
I have something to say
Okay.
before we close.
Sure.
Maybe I could go to the temple for the next week's meeting and get the fire going, and then we can do the Maha Kali meditation with the fire as part of the meeting or after the meeting, whatever people think is easiest. Because there was a request to do a meditation with the fire of our group, by our group.
I think
That
we'll
might be
have
an
to ask.
easy way to do it.
I think we need to ask the group who is going to be presenting, if that's okay with them.
Well, we
'Cause the
could do it
next-
after then, but then
After?
after. We don't have to take their time, but I'm just saying somehow coordinate the two so too much time doesn't go by. Or I could come by in the middle of the week at night too. That's a little harder.
Or we could, because we always use Maha Kali when we're doing the full moon. We could do it the next full moon.
That's a whole month from now, though. I think we want to use the momentum. I just think we wanted to make it happen.
What does the group want to do?
I think that sounds good.
I'd like to do the fire as she suggested it as the main part of the meeting.
Okay, so we'd have to do it either before or after, because the presentation, next group is Andrea's group. Is that correct?
So we're doing
Oh,
the
Doreen's
arrows
group.
next.
Okay, so it's up to you.
So we're gonna start a new cycle. So if we made the fire home a part of it, I would say do that first as a completion kind of thing, because then we start the arrows cycle with the information, then we start doing that mantra, right? So we could just start with a half an hour fire puja, a half an hour presentation, and a half an hour of people sharing like that, if people want to do that.
I think that would be great, but I don't want to step on other people's time, because we could also do a half an hour fire puja at the end of the meeting if we're concerned about your time.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of indifferent. I don't
just-
need to rush this. Like, I'm actually happy to have the fire homa after we're done with the series.
Yeah, and we're done with the whole series?
Yeah, after we do all the presentations. Like, again, I'm not in a hurry to do the fire homa. I just feel like it would be helpful if we do a fire homa for the energies, like, I mean, to calm the negativity, like, at some point.
Oh, I kind of think like maybe, okay, I'm kind of thinking sooner is better, but not to interfere with the other group. What we could do is we could dovetail the Zoom meeting just by, if this is okay with Paul, after he finishes the meeting next week, carry the computer back to the fire. It'll be all still going. The meeting won't be closed. I will have set up the whole fire, and then those who want to can do the Maha Kali mantra, you know, right then. And then there's no stepping on anybody else's toes, so to speak. But I kind of feel like I don't want to wait. Like, I don't know how many mantras we're doing, but that seems like a long wait when I feel like the vibration is still pretty weird in this country. Like, I don't want to
How does
wait a whole
Paul
month.
feel?
Yeah, Paul, what do you think?
My personal feeling is I think it's really important to. I like the idea of doing a fire puja. We could do the introductory mantras, go into 15 minutes of the fire mantra, the Maha Kali mantra, and then go into the meeting.
Okay.
That's I like the fire mantra. I mean, I would have loved to have the fire mantra today if I had enough foresight to think about it like that.
You mean the Maha Kali mantra?
Yeah, the Maha Kali mantra. But we could do that. I mean, we could use this week to do the arrows, and I think that's. Are we doing Maha Kali?
We're doing
No,
the
I'm sorry.
Maha Kali.
I'm sorry.
No, we're doing the Maha Kali prayer.
Yeah, doing Maha Kali prayer this week.
And then, yeah, end it with the fire puja.
Yeah, and then begin with the fire puja, using everybody for 15 minutes, repeating the Maha Kali mantra. And then we can go into the presentation for the 9 arrows as a transition to the next week.
Okay.
I think we need a little bit more than 15 minutes if we're going to do this.
I'm saying just the minimum is 15 minutes. I'm happy to do it an hour if we want.
I think I agree that it's an important time to do it. If you go back to healing techniques, right, in the Sai Shakti book, Swami talked about, or even in Paramashiva Yoga, the inner fire mantra, which is Maha Kali, which you mentioned before, is he uses it to heal what Swami called rock hard souls. Okay. And given everything that's happening on the planet right now, it just seems very timely. And I think sooner than later. But I think for most healing techniques, I feel my feeling is at least 20 minutes, at least.
Then let's just do a half an hour. It's fine. No problem.
I think half an hour is better.
Yeah, no problem.
If everyone else is open to that.
Good. I'm open.
Are we going to have a one sentence and kalpam for this week? It seems like a kind of unwieldy the way it is.
How about we're asking Maha Kali to remove the darkness of the negativity and open our hearts to the divine.
That's great.
Or remove the illusion of our separateness and open up the hearts of the people to wake up to that.
Bingo. Yes.
So can someone type that out?
Are you high, Paul?
I am. I'm ready to go into my cave and to close the door and meditate.
I see that. See, I already see the rock around you there. You're already there.
Yeah. So Kowski, can you type that up and so we can send it out today?
Okay. Yeah. So I want to just share something because they were asking about my sister Mordini, and I did a quick search. There is a stotram to her. The story behind it is it's called Agiri Nandini Stotram, was composed by Adi Shankaracharya. It was popularized in the Middle Ages by Ramakrishna, a devotee of Maha Kali and a courtier of Raja Krishna Devaraya. Ramakrishna is more popular known as Tenali Ramakrishna.
Huh. Can you?
So
Can you email that link to us, please?
You can do a Google search on my Sastra Mardini and it comes up with, I don't think I can do that one. It just comes up as, what is this link? It just comes up.
We'll send it out. We'll send it out along with the Sankalpam.
Anyway, so that's interesting, interesting knowledge. So it's got all kinds of information you can get online. And then it also has her Sotram that you can listen to. Okay, great.
I have a last question. Hello?
Yes.
Okay. These mantras now we always like do for 1 week. So this is not like this 41-day processes where you build up a kind of energy or flow, as I understood. So it will happen to me, I think, in 2 weeks that I will not be able to do it for 3 days. It's about the weekend because 3 days I will not be able to do any mantras. So what's then? I just make a break for this days, or how? What would you say for this?
It's fine. No worries.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
just
a
do what you can.
process. We're just trying to help. We're trying to help the planet, and we do the best we can, and no worries. That's my input.
Yeah, because it's not something like we are so in a continuous doing something to build something up, right?
No, we're in the implementing phase. So you just do what you can.
And what are we doing? 20 minutes a day?
No, I can't. I can't because yeah, you all know that I have Buddhist teachers, right? And in these 3 days, we should do something else and not do anything else from other, yeah, whatever. So I will not.
It's fine, Suzanne. It's really fine. No worries. It's really, really fine.
Okay, then I will just take a break for these 3 days.
So, but for the rest of us, yeah, 20 minutes a day or, you know, whatever. One mala, 20 minutes.
Okay, then I do the rest of the days like normal. I join and then 3 days I just break.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we're all clear? Super. Great. All right. Kowski, you want to do the closing mantras and we can complete today's satsang. Oh, and by
I
the
put
and
put
by
up online the arrow here in the chat box.
right. And just so everybody knows that these series of satsangs is by donation only. So whatever, based on your financial capacity, you can donate to the temple, and there's no formal set price on this. So whatever it is that your heart feels comfortable with, you can make some gift or donation for this series leading up to Guru Purnima.
And this is because we're doing a lot of implementation, and so it's an energy exchange, and Baba is taking care. So it's to go directly to Baba as a thank you for helping us with this implementation on the planet right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I'll do the closing mantra. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. See you next week.
Thanks, everyone. See you.
Thank you, everyone.